Alright, here's the deal. I'm going to be upfront and tell you, this is not my first take. I can't get past minute 2 of this video without having to start over. In fact, I can check, go to recycle bin, right click, empty recycle bin. Are you sure you want to permanently delete these 33 items? So, as I do one sound check first, that means I've done 34 videos, or in other words, this is take 33, if that makes any sense. I am not going to start over under any circumstances. If I make a flub, a mistake, trip over my words, whatever else it is I've been doing tonight, again, I am going to simply continue on somehow. And before I started recording all of these takes, I turned this fan off in Florida, you know, hot. So, and it's plus, which it's 4:02 in the morning. I need to get this going and done and uploaded. So, there. Hello YouTubers, this is cessnaace back again with another My Comic Book Collection video. I ended the previous video in this series in the middle of showing a comic book adaptation of an Anne Rice novel, a series. And as I hit comic 30, I was still not finished showing that series. So, I mentioned that I would start this video with the next issue in that series, unless another comic came in that fell ahead of Anne Rice, alphabetically speaking, and 3 did. So, I am going to show those first. And if you're really good, I'll show you an extra comic or 2. Alright, now, first up, a Patreon supporter of mine, McElligott, kind of requested that I purchase this comic. He didn't tell me to, but he really wanted to see it. And as he's a Patreon supporter, his wish is my command, and vice versa. Now, in the first video that I did in this series, I had shown issues 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of this series, 10 being the final issue. Now, he noticed the same thing I did, that issues 2 through 10 did not follow the original source material much, if at all. And we were both curious as to whether that would be the case with issue 1. Now, I purchased this on eBay, and I was quite pleasantly surprised that I was able to get such a nice copy. Well, it's not nice in technical grading terms for comic books. It's in very good to, well, it's better than that even. Anyway, and especially considering what I paid for this, which wasn't a whole lot. And it came extremely well packaged. Okay, enough preamble. This is issue 1 of 2001: A Space Odyssey, based on concepts from the MGM Stanley Kubrick production, but not much. Cover price, 30 cents. Premiere issue. Now, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I owned the original, well, some of the issues of the original Marvel comic book adaptation of the Star Wars universe. It continued on way past what it was started off doing. But anyway, my vague memories of that series is, it was more faithful at least to the idea of Star Wars than this is to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now you'll notice how bright this cover is. I think this must be the nicest issue of this series that I have. There are no nicks, cuts, creases, nicks, missing staples. Nothing. Of course, none of my other issues are missing staples. I don't think I have any comics that are missing staples. But that's one of the things comic graders look for. Is, does it have both staples? So, Mark, if you're at all interested in this series, be forewarned that it does not in any way follow the film. It just goes off on its own, does its own thing. Thing is, started to put away. I think Jack Kirby worked on this. Now, wait a minute. I didn't notice this. It has a name written on it, and it has a stamp. Passport Bookshop. So, Passport Bookshop, thank you very much. Not. See, every comic book shop I've ever bought comics from, you know, back issues, they would use a stamp to print the name of the shop on the back of the backing board, not in the comic. All right. Next up, I got a package, also today, from Things from Another World. 2 copies of the same issue, but with a different cover. Now, this is one of at least 50 series that Dark Horse Comics has published over the decades based on this franchise. I'm talking about Aliens. This is issue 1 of Aliens Rescue. This just came out. Now, I have a policy, well, ever since I've been buying comics again and been buying them from Things from Another World, when there is more than one cover available, I buy 2 covers. And if there are more than 2, say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, I choose the 2 that I like the most. This is the main cover, and the reason I can remember is, even though they don't mention it inside the comic, I went to Things from Another World's site. You can see the invoice is in there. I placed the invoice in with the copy that had the main cover. So, a process of elimination, that makes this the variant cover with artwork by Mac Chatter. Or Chater, however you pronounce it. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Can't see what I'm doing, but I have faith that you're seeing something. I've already received the first issue of this series. It's advertised on the back. Also from Dark Horse, of course. Hey, that rhymed. The Orville. This is actually a series of mini-series that take place between seasons 1 and 2 of the TV series. And what's cool about that is you get Alara as security chief. At the beginning of season 2, she was replaced. So yes, I've received issue 1 of that. And I received issue 1 of Vampirilla Volume 5, number 1. 77 cover variations. Anyway, I can't remember if I told you or my Patreon supporters. After reading it, I had a nightmare related to that issue. Alright, moving on, speaking of nightmares, to Anne Rice. I last showed issue 8 of Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat, published by Innovation. Issue 10. Just as a reminder, this, like most of the Innovation titles, well, all of the Innovation miniseries that I have of Anne Rice's works, I have another copy. It took them 12 issues to tell the story. Now, this is a recent addition to my collection. This is issue 11. Also purchased on eBay. So, I now have a complete run of this series. Not true of the next Anne Rice series that I'm going to be getting to. As soon as I do one other thing, after this, and that is show you issue 12. Alright, this next comic book adaptation of an Anne Rice novel was published jointly by 2 publishers, Millennium and Comico. This is Anne Rice's The Witching Hour. It is issue 2 of a 13 issue adaptation. Okay, I'm not going to push any further in on that because the women are nude. Well, topless and one's bottomless. The man, though, he's topless too, so what's the big deal? YouTube, that was a question addressed to you. This is issue 3 of 13. Issue 4. Now this is the last issue I have of this 13 issue series, but unlike the previous ones that I have, it only has the Millennium logo on it, not Comico's. Issue 5. Okay, now next we move here. This is issue 4 of a 4-issue series Annihilation Nova. Picked this up at Books A Million, I know, because I had to replace both the bag and the board. As Brian on Family Guy said, I won't mention the context he said it in. Rated A. I guess for awesome. Published monthly by Marvel. Of course, it has the Marvel logo on it, so that makes sense. All right, we move from that to another 4-issue miniseries. This is issue 1 of Annihilation Ronin. Is that Ronin? I don't know. And then my collection jumps right to issue 4. That's the problem with picking things up at Books A Million in their used comic book section, is you can't always find a complete run on miniseries. Okay, this is issue 1 of A plus X. Okay, issue 10 of Aquaman. And it wouldn't be in my collection if I wasn't missing an issue. Go right to issue 12. Ooh, look, I opened right up to a 2-page ad. Well, 2 different ads, I guess. They're both from Sega. One for a Game Gear game and one for a Genesis game. I know they're both Batman and Robin. Alright, doesn't say anything about volume, but I'm thinking this must be volume 2. Because Aquaman has been around for a long time. And yes, normally I close these up with single-sided adhesive tape, but when I run out, I'm reduced to using double-sided sticky tape. So that's what I use there. Go right from that issue to 17. And I hear, at least when Memorandum 42 was talking about it, that the recent Aquaman film is pretty good. I haven't seen it yet. This is issue 27. Now, that came out in December of '96 and has a cover price of $1.75. This is issue 12 and came out in January of '04. But who wants to bet that they didn't mention a volume number? They don't. Not that I expect you to be able to make that out with my camera. A lot of game ads. Including one on the back. All right. Series from Marvel that I picked up at Books A Million some time ago, and the earliest issue I could find was issue 3. I don't know what PSR means, but it says Marvel PSR 3. Anyway, it's Arana, the Heart of the Spider. Issue 5. Issue 8. And issue 9. Before I move on to the next series, I want to shout out to C110 and Ghost Directive, who both commented to my previous video in this series, which I greatly appreciate. All right, Archer and Armstrong. This is from Valiant, and it's issue number 5. Issue 13. Feel another cold coming on. 16. This had a cover price of $2.50. Okay. Going way back in time. This has a cover price of 20 cents. It is an issue of Archie, issue 219. When I was a kid growing up in the 60s, I wasn't reading DC, although I think they were still national periodicals back then, or Marvel. I was reading Archie and Harvey and Gold Key and Charlton. Okay, we jump forward in time to an issue with a cover price of 95 cents. This is issue 372 of Archie. Okay, 374. And that is 30. Now you've been really good. So I'm going to show you an extra comic. Fittingly, it was free. Although it says down here, Marvel Custom Edition. Number 1. Not for resale. This is Iron Man Habit Heroes. This was commissioned by Florida Blue. All of the ads in this issue are from Florida Blue. And you'll notice that on the back, a map of Florida. We live right there. Yes, we have a Florida Blue location here. The thing is, it says not for resale. I don't remember where I got this. And I certainly don't remember where I got this. Yes, I wound up with 2 copies of this very same thing. Like, that never happens. Alright, it is 4:28 now, time to go. Until next time. Oh, I've already mentioned Mark McElligott. Graham, another Patreon supporter. And if you haven't done so already, please consider clicking the subscription button. That would be greatly appreciated. And a thumbs up, too. It would be nice. And I also love reading comments. Until next time, stay awesome.